As parents and grandparents, we've made enough mistakes, I know I have, to fill a library. I'm sure I got a lot of mistakes, okay? But I look at mistakes differently than most people do. You need a lot of failures to get to success, and that's what mistakes are all about. What if those mistakes, especially the big ones, could become the roadmap that protect your kids and your grandkids from ever repeating them, or at least be aware of them? You'd be giving counsel to your family when you've long passed away. Today, I want to show you why the biggest failures might be the most valuable gifts that you can ever pass down. At 60, 70, 75 years old, 80 years old, we're sitting on a mountain of lived experiences. Not just the victories, okay? The victories, actually, the failures, so-called failures, give more knowledge than the victories do, okay? Mistakes teach faster than success. Your family may never ask, but this is what they need, and this is the most underrated part of your legacy, okay? We help people write their legacy books. We call it Write for Your Grandkids. Write a book for your grandkids. I think that's the name of we just got the website, by the way. Anyway, I'll put it down in the comments. Not the comments, down below. The truth, your grandkids don't need a perfect you. They need the wise version of you. The one who failed, learned, and got back up, okay? That lesson alone, and that you got back up, got back on the horse, is the biggest one of all, okay? There is no such thing as failure if you get up and go after it again. And I found in my life, my biggest failures, and these were I had some personal failures, but I look back at the lessons they gave me, and they were invaluable for the rest of my life. For example, at age 33, I went bankrupt, devastated. One of my companies at the time wasn't doing too well, and I kept putting money in, had to go bankrupt. Well, I know some people that have gone bankrupt in their 60s because they never got close to or experienced anything like it before. I know what the telltale signs are. And when that happened later in my life, I would correct them real quickly. So that's enough on that subject. They need the human, honest version, that version from you, the version who can say, here's what I'd do differently. Have you ever sat down and say, gee, I'd like to talk to my dad right now or my grandfather and find out this or that, okay? That's what we want to preserve for your grandkids and your great-grandkids. The big mistakes that shape a life. Money mistakes, okay? Relationship mistakes. Here's a quick relationship mistake you can pass on. I'm going to pass on to my grandkids, okay? And that is you really, really got to like the person you're marrying. Love is one thing, but like is another. And you should love them so much that you encourage them to be more of who they are because you love them that much. And they should reciprocate back. Business choices, times you ignore your instinct. Never ignore your gut instinct. Okay, I have ignored mine many times younger, and I never ignore it now. Okay, never ignore it now. Trust your gut. Your health choices that you made when you were younger. Okay, my dad quit smoking when I was 13. And actually, as a kid, I taught him this story, and that's a story that I'm going to pass around in my legacy book. At 13, my dad quit smoking, and I noticed that he quit smoking, might have been 2 or 3 years later. Okay, maybe even later than that. I might have been in my 20s. And I said, Dad, why did you quit smoking? And he said, because of you. I said, because of me? He said, yeah, you came home one day, you saw some film in school, and you said to me, Dad, do you love me? And I said, yes. And I said, then why do you smoke? He says, that day I never had another cigarette. Okay. So little lessons like that, passing them down will, your kid, you can learn from your kids also. What did you learn from your kids? Put that in your book too. That passes down because that kid's going to be a father or a mother someday, and their kids and their grandkids will be reading it. Okay. So it just passes on and compounds. Okay. Okie dokie. How sharing your mistakes helps your family. They avoid the pain that you might have lived through. They skip 15 to 20 years of wandering, maybe 5 to 20 years, excuse me. They get a blueprint that you didn't have. Okay. They understand you more deeply. It strengthens your family connection. Okay. I can remember a number of things my dad said to me. He said to me I should work from my neck up because he was a barber. He worked at the chair. It was physical labor. Okay. On a funny note, just a couple of years ago, a friend of mine said, Greg, maybe he meant be a barber like he was and work from the neck up. I don't think so. But I worked from the neck up. And 3 of his 4 boys, 3.5 of his 4 boys have worked from the neck up their whole life. He didn't want them to do labor like he did. So here's one lesson that I would leave, a financial lesson. I started a company when I was 23 years old. And I've talked about it a little bit before. But anyway, it was in the long-distance phone service. If you're my age, you remember there was MCI, there was Sprint, there was AT&T, there was Ma Bell. Well, MCI started and Sprint started. And then a lot of small companies started. And I read an article in Entrepreneur Magazine, went down and met the owner of this business, stayed for a week, showed me how to run the business. I came back, ran it. And about 4 years after I was running it, they made me an offer for my stock. And I turned down the first offer. But then I took the second offer, was only double the first offer, but wasn't that much money. Okay. In 1992 or 3, it sold to AT&T for $1.1 billion. So a company I started in the second bedroom of my apartment with my brother Mark and 2 guys that I worked with sold for $1.1 billion. I sold out early. I could have held on to my stock. So what I would have told my younger self and my grandkids is if somebody wants to buy your stock, they're going to do something, okay? And what I could have done is sold half of it and got the same price. I definitely would have, okay? And I would have had half as a lottery ticket. That's what I would pass on, okay? Another thing, be kind to everyone. You have no idea what someone is going through, okay? And I'm going to give them this example. At least one of these examples, but there's going to be many more of these examples for them. I got a call that my mother was rushed to the hospital. And by the tone of the call from my father, I didn't really ask him anything. I was on my dry cleaning route in my van. This was back in around 2000. And I went going straight for the hospital. It was a rainy, murky day, and I'm about a half an hour from the hospital. I'm at a light, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And all of a sudden, I hear people banging on the horn. And I'm thinking to myself, don't they know I'm suffering? So I haven't beat my horn in traffic since then, because that person in front of me or whatever is going through something maybe that I don't even know about. So I give them all. And I just wait there patiently. So now it's going on like 25 years I haven't beat my horn. So that's another lesson that I might teach. And I'm sure you've got a bunch of those nuggets, which can be a chapter of your book, okay? If you would like information on how to write your own life story book for your kids and your grandkids, just leave me a note in the comments and put grandkids book, okay? And I'll get you the information. Grandkids book, leave it down in the comments and I will get you that. Okay, so here's some questions that you could be thinking about that could be in this section of this book for your life, okay? And if you don't write the whole book, maybe you just write a book of lessons for your grandkids, okay? I mean, that's a great idea. Ooh, God, I got goosebumps on that one. Just a book of lessons for my grandkids and my kids and grandkids, a book of lessons. Wow. What one mistake you never want your grandkids to repeat that you made? What do you wish someone told you at 18 or even 58? Okay, I got a bunch of those. What life lesson could change your family's future if you shared it? You don't know what everybody's going through, okay? And if you're helping them with a challenge that you had or close to what you had, they see that you got through it, okay? It means everything in the world. My grandfather came from Sicily when he was 16 years old by himself on a boat, okay? My father told me this story. My grandfather spoke only Italian. Gregory, how are you doing? I mean, that's basically his best English, okay? But when I get in a tough position, I think to myself, by himself, he was the youngest of 5 children, okay? And before his parents, he got on a boat and came to Rochester, New York to live with some relatives. By himself, 16 years old. And then the rest of the family ended up coming over, okay? So that gives me strength. And I got goosebumps. So if you can come up with some things like that, I'm sure there are parts or even anything that you've overcome a challenge, your kids and grandkids are going to value that for generations and generations and generations and generations, okay? So what do? You write them down, you tell the story, just not the lesson. Add what you learned and what you wish your family knew about some challenges. Package it up into a book, okay? My lesson book, my life lesson, my life of lessons. Oh, I like that one. My life of lessons. That could be a good starter book, and then you can get the rest of the book in. Your biggest mistakes aren't something to hide. They're wisdom to pass on. Your grandkids will cherish your honesty more than your perfection. Remember that. Your story can save them years of heartache if you tell it. If you want help turning your story into a beautiful family book, that's what I do, okay? One of the things that I do. So, right in there, book. Just put book in there. I'll know what it means. Okay, I'll get you some information. Your story matters to your family more than you think. Okay, make it a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.